bit Austin. But as I talked to the team, Austin was really hard on himself for that mistake last weekend in Phoenix, resulting in a DNF. Chad Haney, the crew chief, told me that he told Austin, yeah, close the book on it, move on, set our sights on Vegas. The plan here, do about a 12 to 15 lap run, ideally make a change, go back out there, and this team has the benefit of a win already in the books this season. What does that mean for them? It means 50% of the race weekend today is focused on tomorrow's race. 50% is getting a baseline for the fall race, and that fall race here at Las Vegas, arguably the most important in the playoffs. The first race of the round of 8 gives them 2 extra weeks to prepare for the championship race, and Chad Haney said that is some of our focus this weekend, is getting a baseline for what we will see here in the fall.
You know, it's interesting, we talk about the crash last week, and I go right to the top of the board. Who's 1-2 right now, Group 1 practice? The 2 drivers that DNF because of that crash. Sheldon Creed leading the way, Austin Hill is second. Here's another driver dealing with some early season disappointment, and that's Carson Kvapil in the 1. Another late race issue last week at Phoenix.
Yeah, he had I think he had a brake rotor, actually. We don't 100% know in the race. He had a brake rotor, we think brake, which caused a flat tire. But he had that amazing run at COTA,
get the
battle
result
with Zillich,
that
get the result that he deserved, but a little bit surprised. And as we talk about him, you know, he ran those few races last year and just incredible in all of them. Almost won at Dover, but you almost wonder, like being able to run every single weekend. It's nice to be in the car every single weekend, but it's also a lot to take in as a rookie, going to all these different racetracks and having to deal with learning and preparing for a different track every single week.
First time he's been to Las Vegas in anything, and the first time he's raced on a 1.5 miles in the Xfinity Series. Kvapil right now is 4th. You mentioned what happened Circuit of the Americas. I thought he was going to win this race. His talent on full display racing his in the right direction last week before they had the problem. We'll keep our eye on the 1. Kvapil is 4th, leading the way in practice. Sheldon Creed in the 00. As we watch him on track in his Ford, we say hello to Dylan Welch. What's up, Dylan?
Hey, Adam. Well, just wanted to talk about conditions real quick. Jamie mentioned the wind at the start of the show. You see the sun out. It looks like a nice sunny day here, and it's actually become a nice day just in the last probably 10 or 15 minutes or so as the wind blows there over in turns 3 and 4. It looks like they're down the back straightaway. Right before we got cars on the racetrack, we had truck qualifying on. It was cloudy, it was cold, and now the sun has come out, and it's actually pretty warm, really comfortable. So I don't know if that will cause enough of a shift for some of these teams to maybe be trying to have to change a couple things here in these opening laps, but conditions definitely different than they were this morning when these cars went through inspection. The other thing, too, that the teams were appreciative of or excited about was that they were going to get a clean racetrack because the trucks were just on the racetrack for practice and qualifying. Sometimes when you come here to Las Vegas, the dust and the sand and everything else just kind of blows around, and this racetrack gets a little gritty on the surface. Nice, clean racetrack for these guys to go out here and lay down some fast laps early and see what they've got for tomorrow.
Yeah, really interesting to hear Dylan refer to the track being clean, Adam, because this is one of those places that when the track is green and doesn't have any rubber on it, you generate a lot of grip. But as I'm watching the lap times of Sheldon Creed, ran a 30:38 on his fast lap, which was lap 3, to falling off over a half second over 10 laps. It'll be interesting to see if he starts searching around, trying to find a little more clean racetrack. We talked about turns 1 and 2 having those bumps in the preferred line, but these guys have options at this track where they can move up the racetrack. If you run the middle, as you see Sheldon Creed doing right here, about a lane up, staying off the bottom, and then right behind him, you see the 28 of Kyle Sieg running right on the bottom.
Let me give a little bit of love to Kyle Sieg. Last weekend, first top 20 of the year, finished 17th at Phoenix. But here's where the great part comes in. His brother Ryan had the issue after qualifying, tore the splitter off, they had to go to a backup. I was down in the garage at Phoenix last week. After qualifying, they're making all the changes they need from the primary to the backup. Do you know who was right in the middle of helping make the changes? It's Kyle. He's helping facilitate moving parts and pieces from the primary to the backup. Then he goes and hops in his 28 and drives it to a top 20 finish. Really, really great effort by really everyone in the Ford camp.
Yeah, and there was concern whether they were even going to get that car done in time, because the cars aren't, it's not like it used to be where you unload a car and everything is just ready to go. You warm the oil up and you go out. There was a lot of work that had to be performed to that backup car. So cool to see brother Kyle out there helping them get everything tuned up.
What about it, Dylan?
Yeah, well, so you guys mentioned that thrash last week, and I was talking to Matt Noyce, who crew chiefs Ryan this morning, just about some of the logistics that may have created for this team. And he said the biggest thing we need Kyle to do this weekend is just have a good, clean day. This car, this 28 car, is the car that Ryan and the 39 team are going to use in Martinsville. So the issues that they had last week don't directly affect them for here, the week after, or even next week at Homestead. But this is the car they were going to rotate in and out and use at Martinsville. So Ryan, or rather Kyle, having a good day and a good weekend this week, and ultimately is going to help everybody on that RSS racing team, Kim.
And let's talk with the most recent winner in the Xfinity Series, Eric Almirola. Got that win in Phoenix. Looking at some data and stuff right now, I saw you with your teammates. What's on the checklist? You're in Group 2. What are you paying attention to during this group, and what do you hope to accomplish in your group?
Really just the fall off, where the guys fire off for lap time, and then where they fall off, and kind of where the speed's coming from. So the track's obviously cool and a lot of grip right now, so everybody's going really fast. But it'll be a lot different tomorrow. It's going to be warmer, and the track will get rubbered up and it slicks off. So I don't know how much you really learn. You just look and you feel like you got to be doing something rather than just watching. So just trying to get prepared for practice.
And when you got that win last weekend, I have to ask how vacation was, how the birthday is, because you said great start to vacation. You've been in Park City. What's the family been doing all week?
Yeah, we took off last weekend after winning at Phoenix, and we went skiing. Had a blast. We love it. We go out there often, and the kids are getting really good at it. I invested a lot of time on the bunny hill and the green slope for the last several years, and now they're finally pushing Dad to my capabilities. So Alex has definitely got me out of my comfort zone. He goes skiing wherever I go, and it's a lot of fun.
You want to feel old. He's 41 today, so happy birthday to Almirola. Kim referenced the birthday celebration. And 18 years ago, almost to the day, he made his Cup debut driving for Joe Gibbs Racing here at Las Vegas. That'll really date us all. Here's Matt DiBenedetto. I mean, some highs and lows to start the year, but look at practice. Group 1, they are third behind two really good teams.
Yeah, and he ran a fast lap at 30:56, but as I look at his lap times, even around lap 10, not too far off of Sheldon Creed or Austin Hill, so it's not like they went out and just ran one good lap. That car has some speed this weekend, and they need it, because last weekend they didn't have any luck. They had that engine issue after qualifying, and then had issues early in the race. So, yeah, the 99 team looking to rebound here this weekend.
2 practice groups. They each get 25 minutes and then will qualify on the CW. 13 and change to go in Group 1. Sheldon Creed showing the way at Las Vegas.
Them for here, the week after.
Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the scene for NASCAR this weekend. We're about a 20, 25-minute ride north of the Strip. I've got a little gambling trivia for you, Jamie Mack.
I like that.
When was casino gaming legalized? Do you know the answer?
1941.
31. That's
okay.
pretty good. You hit the over on that, but, you know, we'll give it to you. If you won, are you up or you down since we've been out?
It was a wild night, Adam. I was up late. We were doing shots. Honestly, I thought we were going to close the place down.
Oh, yeah. I said
it was actually 7:12, and I think I closed my eyes last night. I was so tired.
Actually, I texted you and I said, I have a dinner reservation for 7:30 if you want to join us, and you said, that's way too late for me.
I didn't make 7:30 last night. I had a long day.
When it hit 9 o'clock and I was still at dinner, I'm like, I should have gone with Jamie.
Totally.
Anthony Alfredo in the 42. New team this year. Hey, by the way, seeing Anthony reminds me, this is a Dash for Cash qualifier. This race tomorrow, top 4 tomorrow, advance to Miami next week to run for $100,000. Alfredo won the 100 grand last year at Dover driving for Our Motorsport.
I remember that, and that was huge for him to be able to pull that off. And when you think about Anthony, I mean, he has not been with one of these top tier teams throughout his career. So to be able to go out and put him on, then it's huge for a team like that to also win the $100,000.
We had a couple of upsets in the Dash for Cash last year. Alfredo won it, so did Ryan Sieg. We qualify him tomorrow, and again next week, an additional $100,000 in line.
Every time I see Garrett Smithley, Adam, I think about Atlanta when we went up to one of the suites and were able to meet his family, and just what a good group they were. We took a picture with them to hear the mom and dad talk about watching us on TV and how proud they are of Garrett. Gives you warm and fuzzies all over.
Well, his dad's a pilot, and we talked about that story and all the work he's done with the wildfires. But I will say that what's really cool is he went to flight school in Daytona Beach, which is kind of what introduced Garrett to NASCAR as a youngster, becoming a fan. But it's a great story, good family, and always nice to see Garrett in the garage.
Yeah, and you could hear, as you were talking there in the background, you could hear a lap time. That's Keith Barnwell, Garrett's spotter, giving him his lap times off turn 2. These cars don't have any way for them to see the lap times inside of the car. So as you're out there, you just want like a little bit of a verification of, I think this feels good, and you have a lap time that you're shooting for, and as he exits turn 2 right here, you heard him say 02 right there, 32.02. Garrett's going to come in and maybe work on the car a little bit. It's really hard here after you make that first run to pull back out on scuffed tires, which all these guys are going to be on. Garrett's run 12 laps so far. It's not a guess, but it is a little bit of a guess of the change and hearing the lap time and the feel that you have. And these guys, they get really good at being able to figure out what they need as the run goes on in those cars.
Dean Thompson driving the 26 Toyota for Sam Hunt Racing, one of our 8 Rookie of the Year contenders, 10th right now in practice with 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, he's going to make his first Xfinity Series start here, but he does have some truck experience at this track. And I would think, you know, as we talk to some of these guys in the garage, even though they haven't run the Xfinity car here and they're going to drive a lot different than the trucks, just having experience on the track is huge when you come versus some of the guys that have never been here before.
I would ask you, how do you manage your time? What are the things you need to do as a driver, the boxes you need to check to get ready for tomorrow? This is big.
Oh, this is huge at Las Vegas. It's one of the, you see he's locking up that left front, getting to pit road. It's like the corner just keeps continuing around as you try to get on pit road, and you make that transition off the banking onto pit road. It's extremely hard. I would encourage everybody to get out there and practice this, because somebody will miss that tomorrow in the race.
And history.
He didn't want to have any preconceived notions. He wanted to get practice under his belt first, then be able to soundboard off of other drivers on was he feeling the right things, what he can expect in the race tomorrow. The biggest feedback the spotter was giving him, he just needed a little more arc in turn 3.
Well, I would say do what works for you. And if he feels like, you know, not coming in with any thoughts of what he needs to do. I mean, all these guys are going to get on the sim, they're going to run through, but the sim's not exact. It's going to be a little bit different. And I mean, I kind of like that. I think that's a unique approach. I would almost want to have some ideas coming here of things I want to work on in practice, but you know, if Carson thinks that's what he needs to do, then that's what he should. And if it doesn't work, you do something different next weekend.
35, Greg Van Alst, driving for Joey Gase, part-time effort. Part-time effort as well for Austin Green, set to make his second start this season here tomorrow, driving for Jordan Anderson Racing. But it will be his third start all-time on an oval, noted road racer, and so this is going to be big for his progression when you look at competition in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Just over 5 minutes to go. It's Group 1 practice at Las Vegas. Creed Hill. This continues, Group 1 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. First of back-to-back races on mile-and-a-half tracks. We'll be at the Homestead Miami Speedway next Saturday. 71 is Ryan Ellis. 3 top 20 finishes this year for DGM. Mario Gosselin, Jesse Awuji partnering with this team.
Yeah, and we're getting down to the end of practice. Only 3 minutes to go in this session. All these tires are the worst they're going to be the whole time, but you see him still working the bottom, which I find interesting, because typically as the tires start to wear down, guys will start searching around a little bit. He's actually coming in right here. It's probably why he ran low through turns 1 and 2.
Leland Honeyman Jr., first time we've seen him since he picked up that top 10 finish at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Thomas Annunziata's been driving that car the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and as you saw, he's running about a car length off the bottom through turns 1 and 2. I think that's going to be the preferred line for a lot of these guys. As we talked to Harrison Burton in the garage earlier today, he talked about those bumps, and he said, you know, running a little high in 1 and 2 is not the end of the world. He's like, you can still make really good lap time up there, and it's a lot easier as the car transitions through those bumps.
I want to go to something you said just a second ago. Tires are wearing out late in this practice session. Dylan referenced the changing weather conditions from when teams arrived this morning to right now. Race tomorrow is going to be a little earlier in the day than this practice session. It's supposed to be warmer tomorrow. You get 25 minutes. How careful do you have to be to make sure you don't take yourself out of the game with the adjustments and the thought process today?
Well, let me say this real quick. You see the 00 right here behind the 21. I like that because he's getting an idea of what his car is going to do in traffic. It's pretty easy to make your car handle when you're all by yourself, but I like that Sheldon Creed's put himself in a position of being behind Austin Hill. And as you see, he's running a little bit offset, a little bit higher, getting some clean air on the nose, just feeling his car out. But I like the idea that he's going to know where he is. 27 laps on his tires right now. And Adam, as we look at those lap times, it's dropped off over a second, over 20 laps, 25 laps. That's good for us as we watch this race tomorrow and you have this massive tire fall off on a track that is so wide. The drivers have options, and it means if you have a bad pit stop or if you get put in the back, you have room on the racetrack to race, and that as a driver is as much fun as it gets.
Here's some 21 radio with a minute to go in practice.
I've made that comment several times throughout the years. Like, as soon as I go to add a little bit of wheel, and I'm like at 11 o'clock and I try to go to, say, 10 and some change on the wheel, it immediately slides the front tires and chatters them just for a split second, but the rest of the corner is really good.
So great feedback from Austin Hill, and what he's saying is that if he puts a little bit of wheel in it, they have the slip angle of the tire, and the tire's generating grip. But as he turns the wheel just a little bit past that, the car gets tight. So as a driver, you have to then almost just straighten the wheel back up a little bit to get the tire to bite again. So really good feedback. I mean, they can work on things like the toe or just go look at the data of air pressure, of things that they could do to make that car continue to have good grip. But that tells me his car is pretty close. He likes the way it feels. The other thing that I see with him, and we see this a lot with Austin Hill, the left front is on the white line. Hard to do, especially as the tires get old. You have to be so disciplined to roll out of the throttle. And you see when you get your left front on that line, there's a little bit of rubber on it. It's like mega grip.
Opening group practice is done, and I'm going to look over at the 15-lap average. The 00 and 21 just laying right over top of each other. If you're going to be successful in this race tomorrow, it's going to be decided in that final stage. And history says we're going to have a long green flag run. So you better be good on the long run if you're going to be able to deliver here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. More practice coming up. Group 2 on track when we return. It's a sunny Friday afternoon in Sin City. All season long, NASCAR Xfinity Series going to be on the CW. Race number 5 comes your way tomorrow. NASCAR Countdown Live, 4 Eastern Time. Group 1 practice done today in Vegas. What name jumps out as we look at the top 10, Jamie?
Well, I'm looking at Carson Quapple. He mentioned, not wanting to have a preconceived notion coming here. I think I'd stick with my plan. It worked out pretty well in this first practice.
Sheldon Creed, Austin Hill, the top 2, and we've talked about how good they have been. Let's go to Dylan.
And Anthony Alfredo is 5th fastest, as you see there, 174.9 miles an hour. So what'd you think? This place, it feels like every time we're here, there's always a bunch of wind. There's always some different variables you kind of have to get your head around.
Yeah, certainly, Dylan. You know, the bumps in 1 and 2 seem to get worse every time we come back, and then the wind always plays a huge factor, and I think it truly masks the balance you have. So I was surprised because we're almost as fast as Xfinity Mobile. When I looked at the board, I was looking at the bottom of it because that's how bad it felt, and then I looked up and we were 5th. So huge testament to the guys at Young's Motorsports. They've been doing a phenomenal job bringing really fast race cars to the track, and we just haven't had the results to show for it. We've had so much bad luck, and it just hasn't been meant to be. But when you keep bringing the speed to the track that it takes to compete, you know, the results will come. So I have faith. We definitely had a rocky start to the year, and we got to dig ourselves out of a hole a little bit. So got to be aggressive, trying to get stage points when we can, and ultimately finish up front. But I'm really proud of the effort everyone's been putting in for a new team to the Xfinity Series, and you know, a small organization at that, to be as competitive as we've been is something that we take a lot of pride in.
Adam mentioned earlier that the Dash for Cash qualifier is this week, and I know that was something that was exciting for you last year. What does that mean to the smaller programs on the Xfinity side, just to have an opportunity to go after that extra money?
Oh, it's huge that Xfinity does that for us in the series, because even though like it seems like a far-fetched goal, you never know what could happen. I proved that last year, right? People were surprised that we even qualified for it. That was an accomplishment in itself, but then to actually win it was huge, because you know that money just helps you close the gap between yourselves and the bigger teams as far as the budget. You know, that's repairing race cars, building a new race car, or just, you know, putting it into the program in other ways. So that's you know, we definitely have our eyes on that. It won't be easy, but if we can capitalize on that opportunity, it could definitely be a huge reward. I would say it makes a bigger difference for a team like ours than some of the other organizations.
Always love extra money for sure. Thanks, Anthony.
I think we all like a little extra money, but I like the way he worded that. It does make a bigger difference for the smaller teams winning that versus some of the larger teams. One of the things he said, though, Adam, is I always liked if I thought my car felt bad and it was fast versus when I'm like, boy, this feels really good. And they're like, well, it should, because you're really slow right now. You need to speed it up. So good for him. Hopefully they can get that thing just feeling a little bit better for him on the track.
Back to the Adam and Jamie spend too much time together thing. I was going to ask you, what is it like as a driver when you think your car's not where it needs to be and you're up there at the top of the board, and right out of the interview you go with that? Hey, Jesse Love.
Ooh. Ooh.
I mean, you want to get on a heater when you're in Vegas.
It's like the tire's in love with the fender right now.
I guess it is.
Get those apart, and then he's over traveling a little bit on the left front. That's a pretty aggressive rub. We'll see if that gets better as he runs here. I don't know. I think I would want to come in and look at that.
Don't worry about the smoke.
Okay,
Don't
never
worry
mind.
about the smoke.
That's the guy not driving it that's saying that. You're the guy that might hit the wall. You're a little more paranoid of that, but looks like it's getting better as the air pressure builds up. The scary part is like, where is it rubbing at? If it's rubbing on the sidewall versus the top, it can rub longer and it's not a big deal. That was Danny Stockman that you heard come on right there. He must have known that they've seen this before, and yeah, as the air pressure builds up, it looks like it's getting a little bit better.
He seemed really confident when he said that, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
I mean, I guess I would believe him if I was driving, even if I was going 175 miles per hour, Kim.
Yeah, and that's Group 2 on the track right now. But as we look at the board for Group 1, top of the board, Sheldon Creed, did you get everything out of the car you needed for tomorrow?
I'm sorry, I have no idea what you said, but yeah, Brendan Jacqueline, Ford Mustang. Felt okay. I fired off a little free and was able to run some decent laps there to start, and then kind of had a balance swing and got tight. So a few things to work on. Definitely got tighter than I wanted for racing tomorrow, but we'll work on it some and hopefully have a good run.
So Creed was quickest in that opening group, as Kim pointed out. He's now second overall. If you look at our bumper, the drivers with their number in the scoring pylon highlighted in orange, they are on track now in Group 2. Connor Zilic, now the fastest of the bunch, the rookie in the 88.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the one that popped up to me. He had a tough weekend at Phoenix. I think, you know, after winning at COTA, he ran 4th at Phoenix last year, and you're like, man, he maybe could go win again, and had a long weekend. Got put back after sliding through his pit stall. Was never able to recover from that, but I'm telling you, to go out in the second group and be quick. And honestly, I mean, looking at that, you mentioned those orange boxes being the ones in this group. I see a lot of orange boxes at the top of the board right now, so it makes you think that maybe the track is picking up a little bit, which I would think is the opposite. As the rubber gets laid down, it typically loses grip.
And the metric is what sets up these groups. Typically, Group 2 is going to have a lot more faster cars. Let's go back to last week. Zilich, second career start in Phoenix, just really derailed after this pit stop.
Yeah, and you're just going to have this in your rookie year. It's part of being a rookie. You're going to have to learn from that. He was in that #1 pit stall, slid through his box. His stalls are slick. You see a little contact right there from his teammate. Those guys are
Sammy Smith driving the 8 for JRM is third on the board. Go back and watch the fall race here. He was involved in that incident on a restart. Car got banged up. They never were able to recover, and that put him directly behind the 8 ball in the round of 8. Nearly was able to get to victory lane in the final race in the round of 8 at Martinsville, advanced to the championship 4, finished second to Almirola. But a lot of optimism in the 8 camp early this year. Daniel Dye in the 10, sitting idle on the pit lane. Let's get some audio from their team.
What came loose? That bell, one of them popped out, so just give me a second. Let me come to you and pop it back in. Copy, sorry. It's okay, man. Better to be safe than sorry.
Oh man, that's scary. So he's referring to one of his seat belts. There's like a cam that's down by your belly button that all those belts will snap into, and sometimes when you put them in, they can get in a bind, and if you don't hear it click, it's not all the way seated. And I've had that happen before, and I have a kid that races, and I have just worn him out, like, you need to listen to this click and double check it, because that's happened to everybody at some point in your career, and it is terrifying to get in the middle of the corner and feel that belt pop out.
On board, Taylor Gray. Another one of our rookies off to a great start. Look at the bottom line there. The box score for 2025. 3 finishes inside the top 10 in 4 races. Only 3 drivers have recorded a top 10 in 3 of the 4 this year. You got Taylor Gray with Sam Mayer, and you also put on the board Jesse Love. That's an impressive lineup of drivers.
Yeah, and the one race that you saw that he had a bad finish because he got wrecked. He's been good in every single race, and he was one of those guys that got caught up the last time we were here in the wreck that you were referring to earlier. It eliminated a lot of guys, but he had a great run going here last fall as well.
But you go back to last year. He's running that part-time schedule, also driving full-time in the trucks. 13 races last year, 3 top 10s. He's already got 3 top 10s this year, just Taylor Gray. And we check on another driver off to a hot start. 41 is Sam Mayer, made the move to Haas Factory Team. 2 career victories on 1.5-mile tracks for him.
Yeah, I mean, talking to their team in the garage, they're like, look, we got wrecked at Atlanta. If we hadn't, we think we'd be leading the points right now. This transition to the Haas team has been really good for Sam Mayer, the best start that he's had in the Xfinity Series to his career, and you see him being right there behind Connor Zilich. Same thing as Sheldon Creed, his teammate. I like that he's getting in some dirty air, getting to feel his car, what he has. And I think those Haas factory cars, I mean, when you look at the performance that Riley Herbst had here a couple of years ago and just where they've been, they are going to be a factor in this race. He wasn't able to run that really fast lap that we've seen Connor Zilich in front of him, but you see how he's just a little bit lower. That tells me that his car is turning a little bit better. The grip feels good. We'll see if he decides to go in and run right behind Connor into turn 1, if he tries to run a little bit high to get some clean air. You see, he's just trying to keep that left front fender poked out to get some clean air on the nose.
Mayer 15th overall in practice. And if you looked at it from a distance, you would say there's debris, but that's tape that's obviously there for a reason when you look at the nose of that Ford.
Yeah, and it's black tape, and if you look at the top, there's white, and that's signals for the crew guy where they can grab on. It's like a little pull tab, basically. I don't know that I guess you see that on the 88 as well. It looks, if I'm being honest, it looked kind of like a sloppy job. Like they put that on, but that must be the way they do it.
But I will say this, and I mentioned the debris thing, and that's what originally made me think of this. You come here, it's windy. It's,
Always.
I mean, it seems like inevitably we're going to have a car or two that deal with debris on the grill.
Yeah, absolutely. The wind here always blows a lot of debris onto the racetrack, and somebody will have that issue tomorrow for sure.
Eric Almirola, fresh off that victory last week. Talk about the fact Las Vegas has not been a great track for him, but when you look at what he's done since returning to Joe Gibbs Racing, just remarkable since the beginning of 2024. His last 5, you can't be much better.
It's been unbelievable, and he was in the right position last weekend to be able to capitalize on a win. And you said it, this has been a tough track. I mean, in the 6 starts he has here, no top 10s. He ran both races last year, Adam, and had some issues in the second race, but really just wasn't very fast in either of those. And this has been a great track for Joe Gibbs Racing. So he's on a hot streak. Everything's kind of going his way right now. It'll be interesting to see if they can put it all together. He's 6th on the lap times right now. His fall off, to me, looks like about as good as what I've seen. And, you know, momentum, and you can go to a bad racetrack when you have momentum on your side and do well. You know, only one driver in the history of the Xfinity Series has won a pole on their birthday. Eric Almirola turning 41 today. We'll see if he can get the payoff in qualifying later on. Zillich leading in practice. Of the 4 junior motorsport Chevrolets, top 10 in practice here at Las Vegas with Jamie McMurray. I'm Adam Alexander, Dylan Welch, Kim Kuhn hanging out. We'll look for his first Las Vegas win in Xfinity competition. Well, he's done everything but win here. The 4 second-place finishes, this almost reminds me of how good he is at Phoenix, and you think about him dominating that race last weekend. I mentioned Austin Hill having a long week. I bet Justin did as well, because that's got to be hard to lead 130 laps and then have to go down to, you know, a green-white checkered, and his car just would not fire off on that restart. You see him sliding Eric way up the hill, allowed Bowman to slide right through the middle. Yeah, that had to be a tough pill to swallow right there. Well, the post-race reaction, this right here, says it all. Yeah, it really tells the story. And no one takes it more personal than him, right? And I'm not going to measure the emotions of drivers and say that one feels it more than another, but he really does carry the weight of his team. Yeah, and he's won 2 races at Phoenix, but I think he's dominated about 100 of them and hasn't been able to win. So you know, as you get down to the end of those races, it just seems like it's went the wrong way for the 7 car. Kim, do you have more on the 7?
Yeah, just having trouble in 3 and 4 was the biggest complaint from Justin Allgaier, and this seems to be a JRM problem. His teammate Sammy Smith also with the same problem. Sammy a little more specific in describing his issue. He just needs to carry his speed better to wrap 3 and 4. The fastest cars are using the bottom at both ends, and Sammy said it's just too tight to wrap the bottom. So both Justin Allgaier and teammate Sammy Smith having trouble wrapping that bottom in 3 and 4.
I think I got a tire actually coming apart right now.
That's 7 radio there. Saw him kind of dropping off the pace. Wasn't sure what was going on.
Well, he aborted that lap.
Yeah.
I thought maybe the handling just went away, but you know, as a driver, if you feel that, you just slow down immediately and come in and let them look at it. This is it isn't a really abrasive track, but I don't remember having any tire issues here last year. They're on the same tires. Better be safe than sorry.
Yeah, we'll continue to follow the story of Justin Allgaier.
Ooh.
Had the flash of Brandon Jones, and you talk about the opposite ends of the spectrum when you look at expectations. Allgaier felt like he should have won, disappointed with 5th. Brandon Jones finishes 3rd, and he is on top of the world, right?
Yeah, it's been a struggle the last couple of years for Brandon. He comes back to Joe Gibbs Racing, and you mentioned that those first 3 races, I think they ran fine, but if it could go wrong, it did go wrong. And we talk about momentum. Like to finish 3rd last week and then come here where he sits on the pole last year and ran really well in the race. Feel good about him this weekend.
Well, he sat on the pole here, and he also did at Kansas another 1.5 miles, and he's won twice on 1.5 miles. So Ryan Sieg has done everything but win. 3 runner-ups last year, including the fall race here to A.J. Allmendinger. But before we talk about Las Vegas and the 39, and we kind of referenced this earlier when we were talking about Ryan's younger brother, Kyle. But you just look at Ryan and what that team was able to do last week with a backup car and drive through, and Dylan touched on it too, but man, that had to be an enormous build of momentum for this organization.
Yeah, so impressive for what they were able to do last weekend, and you referenced the race here last time we were in Las Vegas. He was so fast at the end of the race and wasn't able to get by AJ. He made a move and ended up getting really loose up underneath him, but he's been, gosh, I mean, it's been so close so many times for Ryan, and as we spoke with him in the offseason, we think this is his year, that he'll get to victory lane, and it could very possibly be tomorrow.
Dylan, what about it?
Well, you guys know the old saying, you have to lose some before you can win some. I was talking to Matt Noyce this morning, and in all seriousness, they feel like they have lost a couple now to the point to where they are ready to win. There's a difference between just running second, right, and finishing second versus losing a race and finishing second. Matt kind of referenced, he said, we lost one leading last year at Texas. We lost one chasing the leader here this year, here last year. So they feel like they are ready to win. And the other point he made too, you know, Ryan's been in this series for a long time, but he hasn't always run up front consistently, so he is still learning. Even as a 38-year-old, he's still learning how to run up front and be in contention at the end of these races. They feel like they're as prepared as ever to potentially get that first career win at a track that he is really, really good at.
Dylan, that's such a great point, and I'm with you. Like as you watch this race last year, the fact that he was able to run the leader down late in the race and have the best car, I mean, it just says a lot about where this team is, and they get their cars, you know, from the Haas factory team as well. Talked about them, Harrison Burton, obviously Creed and Mayer, and those cars, man, this track, it matches up well with the setup that they have. Yeah, I feel good about him this weekend.
You referenced Harrison Burton. Here's cousin Jeb in the 27 off to a really nice start in 2025.
I'm dying to see the inside of this car. I've heard a lot about it, Adam, and there it is. Look at that.
Stickered up.
It's got, I don't know who came up with this, but I like it. What do we got? Steak and butterfly shrimp.
Hey,
all you can eat. That's me.
If you got a buffet sponsor in Las Vegas,
a home run.
All that is missing is a trip to victory lane. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Look at those numbers, though. Daytona is probably going to finish top 5 and gets involved in a dust-up on the final lap, so it doesn't come to fruition. But across the board, he's been consistent. They've gained some stage points. And I look at those numbers, and if you talk to Jeb, he'd tell you they should be better. He's disappointed. That's encouraging for everyone at Jordan Anderson Racing.
Yeah, I mean, finding himself 8th in points at this point in the season, it's great. And they've done a good job, as you said, capitalizing on getting stage points and not necessarily maximizing their finish of the day, but maximizing their points for the day.
William Sawalich, double duty, going to race the Craftsman Truck Series event here this evening. And then, of course, his full-time job tomorrow, the Xfinity car, driving the 18 for Joe Gibbs Racing.
I'm jealous of Williams. You know why? Because he gets to race, I feel like, every race, every single weekend. If there's an ARCA race, he's in it. If there's a truck race, he's in it. He's running the full Xfinity series. He is getting to just maximize his time at the racetrack, and that is going to pay off for him. And as you look at those results, they've been super consistent this year. You know, they've been a top 10 car. They need to take that step to get, you know, to a top 5 car and then being able to win. But they have done a really good job with his program of putting him in as many races as he could possibly run.
His confidence is growing. You can see it. And you know how I really know? He was walking through the garage today.
A little strut.
Hat on backwards.
I saw it.
A little swagger.
I like it.
Out of Williams. Focus right now, the 25 of Harrison Burton.
You know, Adam, every week we go to the garage, we see Harrison. Every single time we go down there, I don't know why, but we always seem to find him. I love listening to his story and kind of where this team is right now. They've built this program from where it's been the last couple of years. They've got themselves in a good position. I think they're going to be disappointed with where they are on the board right now. His fast lap is not very good. His average lap time doesn't look too bad. Kim, do you have more on Harrison's day?
Yeah, struggling with the handling of that race car. Harrison radioed in, said it's edgy off the wall, tight exit. He needs to be able to enter the corner harder. He said he's still hunting for a lot more rear lateral grip. And when I talked to him before, we kind of went into this stretch of Phoenix, and then we're here in Vegas this weekend. We'll go to Homestead, Miami next weekend. He said this is really going to put a spotlight on where the troubleshooting needs to go on the team, because these are tracks where handling is really going to come into play. They're going to see where their shortcomings are, and those are the gaps they're going to have to make up to compete with some of the bigger teams. And as we look at Harrison's record here, though, he does have 4 top 10s in 4 Vegas starts, so it's going to be a hard-pressed effort to try and continue that streak here this weekend for Harrison.
Well, Kim, that's just like a driver crew chief nightmare. When you're loose in, tight in the middle, it's just almost impossible to fix that. You saw them adjusting the wedge in the back of that car. But that's just, you just almost hope that you just have a bad set of tires or a set of tires that doesn't agree with your car. As we look at Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed and Cole Custer, they all share information. And Adam, Harrison hit on that partnership has actually been better than what he expected.
It's a two-way street now. I think, you know, the conventional wisdom is if you're an affiliate team, you take all the information from Haas
One-sided.
and use it as much as you can. And Harrison told us in the offseason, we want to give as much as we receive. They hired Danny Effler at AM Racing as a crew chief. He was a driver. He spent time at Legacy Motor Club, a real smart guy. And I think over time, all of those relationships and all that knowledge is going to pay off.
Do you think he's smart, like just compared to you and I, or do you think in general, like he's a pretty smart guy?
I think in general he's smart.
Yeah, I would
because
agree.
I've had a lot of conversations with you and others, and everyone is highly intelligent compared to you and I.
It just doesn't take much.
Actually, that's why I hang out with you.
That's right. We compliment each other.
Nick Sanchez in the 48. This is a perfect back-to-back here. Two drivers that have been great out of the gate. Sanchez driving the 48 for Big Machine, 16 Christian Eckes for Colleague.
I've been thinking about Christian all week. They've been able to, like last week at Phoenix, didn't have a great car. They were able to figure out how to kind of finagle their way into getting a top 10 finish. He said he thought they should have run 12th to 15th. But this has been a good track for him. He's never been here in the Xfinity Series, but he has won in the Truck Series at this track. You mentioned AJ won here last year in a Colleague car as we were down there in the garage talking to that team. They just feel like, in general, Colleague has a good setup for this track, and Christian's had success here. I got my eyes on him tomorrow for sure.
Brennan Poole in the 44. Driving for Alpha Prime, Tommy Joe Martins. Look at his numbers overall on mile-and-a-half track. Should point out, after some disappointment at Daytona on a run of top 20s, and that's acceptable for this race team. And a hands-on owner. I saw Tommy Joe flying out here on Wednesday, down in the garage this morning, and an owner that drove these cars, so he has a good understanding of what all of his drivers are doing.
Yeah, and as you see, we only got the flags are getting ready to come out, and Brennan knows that. They've told him out on the radio, and he's moving his line around. You saw him run all the way against the wall in turns 3 and 4, and I like that. You go out, you know kind of what you have on the bottom, run a couple of laps around the top as those tires are worn out, and just see what it feels like.
Jamie said it. Time is run out. Practice is over for Group 2. Nellis Air Force Base.
That's us right there.
Right off the back straightaway. You've done it. I want to do it. I want to go screaming and
24. Let's go, man! I love you! Come on!
Never. In emotion of A.J. Allmendinger. He'll be running the Cup race this weekend. He's turned. He's 34th in. Let's hear from number 88, Connor.
Yeah, Connor Village top of the board after practice at a track you've never been to in anything. Biggest surprise so far?
Yeah, this place is fast. I woke up at 10 a.m. this morning, got my beauty sleep. I've never worn this suit before. I got 2 suits in my closet. I've used the same suit all year, so I got a fresh WeatherTech suit today. Got my Red Bull. My car's as fast as XFINITY Mobile, and the entire junior motorsports team did a great job. So yeah, it's been a great day. It's a little chilly out here, windy, really windy. I got super tight off of 4. It's crazy how much the wind affects these cars. So yeah, having a lot of fun. Such a fast racetrack, but good start to the weekend for sure. We've definitely got a piece to contend with.
A lot of fun on the racetrack. Off the racetrack, what does an 18-year-old do in the city of Las Vegas?
Yeah, everyone kept asking me, oh, you getting in any trouble last night? And I was like, I wish I could tell you something I could find a way to get in trouble with. You can't do much here as an 18-year-old, but keeps me out of trouble, so it's probably a good thing.
Probably. Connor getting ready for qualifying down here. Dylan.
Taylor Gray fast as well. He is 4th after practice. So the wind's blowing. We obviously always talk about the bumps and stuff here. What's going to be the most challenging part of laying a good qualifying lap down here?
Yeah, I think 1 and 2 is kind of going to be your simple corner today. I think you're going to be close to wide open. If not, you are going to be. And I think that with the wind getting into 3, it's going to be tough. Luckily, we go out a little bit later in qualifying, so it kind of get to watch some guinea pigs go out there and go for it. So yeah, but I can't thank everybody enough at Jogo's Racing. I feel like we've brought a really good operation at GR Supra. I think we're as fast as XFINITY Mobile, so go check it out.
Thanks, Taylor. Good luck.
Actually, I think the wind is fast.
The wind is fast. I tell you what, based on Connor's interview, he doesn't need any more of that Red Bull. He was talking pretty fast.
But you know what? It doesn't matter. Fast, disappointment, whatever.
That's where you need to be, Adam.
¿Qué tal, gente? Acá estamos. Regresamos. Mil disculpas a todos por no estar en la práctica, pero bueno, tenía que descansar un ratito. Ya estamos para lo que va a ser la clasificación de la NASCAR XFINITY Series, arrancando con la máquina número 32 de la organización de Jordan Anderson Racing, Austin Green. 9 carreras en la serie XFINITY, pero esta es apenas su tercera participación en una pista que es un óvalo. Su mejor arrancada, puesto 17 en el Shallow Oval el año pasado. Arranca la vuelta para la máquina número 32, Chevrolet de Austin Green. El experto en circuitos, pero que ya poco a poco está tomando figura, ¿no? En lo que es en la categoría de la serie XFINITY. Tiene a Jody Miseimer como su crew chief, negociando justamente acá. Curva 3 y 4, recta principal para él. Va a acabar la vuelta. Es el primero en salir a clasificar. Bueno, acá justamente vemos la vuelta que realiza Dean Thompson de la organización de Sam Hunt Racing. Se coloca como primero, 30.577 segundos. Máquina 35, Greg Van Elst sale a clasificar ahora, el piloto de la organización de Joy Gaze Motorsport. Veo que sale humo en la parte trasera. Claro, se comprime el resorte en las ondulaciones en esta curva 1 y 2 del trazado de Las Vegas. Recordemos que es una pista bastante ondulada. Vemos ahora en estos momentos que está concretando la vuelta Greg Van Elst. Lo va a dejar bastante lejos con respecto al tiempo que marcó Dean Thompson, pero ahí está, va a ser cuarto por ahora. Un segundo y medio más lento que la vuelta que marcó Dean Thompson. 168.16 millas en promedio por vuelta. 32.112 segundos. Él se encarga ahora a salir a clasificar la máquina número 70 de Leland Honeyman Jr., que regresa al volante. Recordemos que en las dos carreras anteriores estuvo Thomas Annunziata, quien desafortunadamente no pudo ser parte de la competencia del Circuito de las Américas, COTA, hace un par de semanas, pero que pudo estar presente para la carrera de Phoenix. Ahora Honeyman se encargará de correr para este fin de semana, para el día de mañana, lo que va a ser esta máquina 70 que le pertenece al equipo de la familia Derek Cup, el ganador de las 500 de Daytona del año 1990. Y ojo, porque la abuela es una buena vuelta. ¡Uy! Cerca Leland Honeyman Jr. de quitarle la pole provisoria a Dean Thompson. 30.585. 176.55 millas en promedio por vuelta. El crono que marcó Leland Honeyman Jr., máquina 70. Garrett Smithley ahora se prepara. Máquina 14, perteneciente a la organización del SS Greenlight Racing. Hasta el momento, a diferencia de COTA, Garrett Smithley ha conducido esta máquina 14. La única carrera en la cual no estuvo presente fue la de COTA, que lo condució este auto 14 Carson Hosbach. Negociando acá la curva 3. Se va a la 4. Muchas gracias a todos como están presentes acá. Bienvenidos, señor Jason 3, al igual que Hernán Franchi. GAC también. Cac, al igual que Godzilla el Erizo, un usuario normal que dice que Connor Silich gana la carrera de mañana. Fue el más rápido durante la práctica. Code X, saludos. Feliz viernes para todos, espero que le estén pasando bien. Acaba la vuelta de la máquina 14 de Gary Smithley. Queda a 6 décimas con respecto al tiempo que marcó Dean Thompson. Radio de comunicación de Gary Smithley. Séptimo piloto en salir a la pista, Antonio Alfredo. Entrevistan acá a Jeremy Clements, carrera número 502 para él en la categoría.
The car looks the part. How lucky are you feeling this weekend?
Well, we're about to find out. I mean, it's an awesome looking car. Suits where we're at, man. Sin City, I love Las Vegas. About to see if we can roll the dice right. It's chilly, man. I'm ready to get back in the car and warm up and go as fast as XFINITY Mobile. But thanks for Pacific Funding, and Vegas is fun. And I try to eat dinner, go to bed at a decent time, not stay out too late. But that's going to be hard.
It's always a good thing.
I was gonna say I don't think I believe Jeremy.
He's one of the great
He's a fun
sleeper
guy.
personalities.
Yeah.
Hey, while they were talking, great effort for Anthony Alfredo. His lap turned up all aces, at least so far, 30.27. He's 3/10 quicker than what Dean Thompson put up.
He had to go out early in the session, but he's 3/10 ahead of second place right now. I think it's gonna be.
Escuchábamos ahí a Jeremy Clements, qué personaje que es, la verdad. Vemos que acaba la vuelta de Ryan Ellis, 172.59 millas en promedio. Lo coloca en el sexto lugar, a un segundo con respecto al tiempo que marcó Antonio Alfredo. Y también marcó vuelta la máquina número 42 de Antonio Alfredo, que se coloca en la pole provisoria. Joy Gaze sale a clasificar. El dueño de esta organización del Joy Gaze Motorsports es el segundo auto. Recordemos que Greg Van Elk ya salió a clasificar. Por ahí va a finalizar cerca de Austin Green. Va a estar ahí, octavo. 170.11 millas, 31.744 segundos. La vuelta de Joy Gaze en la máquina número 53. Chris Wright, máquina número 5. Las últimas 3 arrancadas de Chris Wright, puesto 28 en Atlanta, 33 en Cota, 33 en Phoenix. Hay que mejorar esos resultados, señor Chris Wright. Uno de los novatos también que está peleando justamente por el Rookie of the Year. Ahora tenemos al piloto de Our Motorsports. Máquina Chevrolet, negociando acá la curva 3 y 4, recta principal. Se acaba la vuelta de Chris Wright, se coloca bastante cerca de Antonio Alfredo, 177.42 millas, 30.436 el tiempo de Chris Wright. Hacemos una pausa, enseguida regresamos, gente. Estamos en vivo con la NASCAR XFINITY Series, la clasificación para la Luna, para el día de mañana. tripleta de NASCAR en Las Vegas. Esta noche estaremos en vivo con la NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Mañana estaremos con la serie XFINITY. El domingo con la NASCAR Cup Series. Recuerden que esta noche a las 10 de la noche hora de Argentina, 8 de la noche hora de Colombia con la serie de camionetas. El sábado, mañana estaremos en vivo a las 5:30 de Argentina, 3:30 de Colombia. Y el domingo estaremos con la NASCAR Cup Series a las 4:30 de Argentina, 2:30 de Colombia. Austin Hill, máquina 21, sale a clasificar. Por ahora, Antonio Alfredo está en la pole provisoria con un tiempo de 30.270 segundos y una velocidad de 178.394 millas. 10 autos en total salieron a clasificar. Recuerden que son 38 los que se han inscrito para este evento y todos tienen la oportunidad de poder ser parte de la competencia para el día de mañana. En verde el tiempo de Austin Hill. Veremos si es que se queda con la pole provisoria. 2 décimas más rápido que la vuelta que marca Antonio Alfredo. 3 décimas más rápido, ojo. Buena vuelta de Austin Hill. Se va a colocar en la pole provisoria. Tremenda vuelta, 181.07 millas. 29.822. Es el primero que rompe la barrera de los 30 segundos en esta clasificación. Fue casi 3 millas más rápido que la vuelta que marcó Antonio Alfredo. Tremenda vuelta. Máquina número 07. El piloto experto en cuanto a Williams Modified Tour. Se trata de Patrick Emerling. Entrevistan acá a Josh Williams, máquina número 11. A ver qué dice Williams.
For me right now, it's just breathing. We struggled in practice pretty bad. I'm just trying to. My lungs still have a little fluid in them, so I'm trying to get my breath right. So I don't know. Hopefully, we get in the race and that'll all kind of smooth out a little bit. So. I apologize to my guys, everybody on the Alloy 11 machine. I feel like I let them down in practice, but hopefully I can train my lungs to make 300 miles tomorrow.
Top 20 every race this year for Josh Williams. 07 made a run. Patrick Emerling, good lap. He is third. Now the 00 high.
Buena vuelta de Patrick Emerling, Lo veíamos a Josh Williams, que estaba bastante enfermo, la verdad, ¿no? Hay que decirlo, está afónico, está como yo. Nos enfermamos al mismo tiempo. Nos contagiamos de la misma enfermedad. Esperemos que se recupere Austin Hill. Vemos la vuelta de la máquina número 00 de Sheldon Creed. 178.15 millas en promedio. 30.310 segundos. Lo coloca como el tercero más rápido hasta ahora en la clasificación. Se prepara Di Burrito. Los Vikingos Motorsports. El Viking Motorsports. Acá lo tenemos a Di Benedetto, que hasta el momento ha tenido, bueno, clasificaciones bastante pobres. Puesto 30 en Atlanta, puesto 21 en Cota, puesto 30 también en Phoenix. Vamos a ver en qué posición se coloca Di Burrito con el Chevrolet número 99. Es una buena vuelta, lo puede colocar segundo, ojo. Puede ser una buena vuelta, sí, es una buena vuelta de hecho. Segundo, 179.20 millas, 30.133 segundos es la vuelta que ha marcado Di Burrito en esta clasificación. Recuerda que el día de mañana estaremos en vivo con Ultramotor y DC12 F1 con las 12 horas de series por segundo año consecutivo. No se lo van a querer perder. Máquina 45, Mason Massey, el piloto de Alpha Prime Racing, saliendo a clasificar en estos momentos. Mason Massey es el 15º piloto en salir a la pista. Acá tenemos al Chevrolet número 45, recta posterior. Es una vuelta que probablemente no lo ponga en los primeros 5 lugares. Probablemente acabe noveno. Sí, es muy probable que acabe noveno. Finaliza la vuelta de Mason Massey. Noveno, en efecto. 174.66 millas. Un tiempo de 30.916 segundos. Se prepara para clasificar la máquina 31 de Blake Perkins. Puesto 18 ha clasificado tanto en Cota como en Phoenix. Van a entrevistar a Jeff Burton. A ver, entrevista con él.
As fast as XFINITY Mobile like it was the time I got in it. We're 5th there in practice. Really proud of the guys. Brought a really good Golden Corral Chevy. So just excited, man. The guys are doing a good job. Last week we didn't have quite the car we wanted, but we ended up 15th. So hopefully we made the right small tweaks here, so I go try to put this thing in the top 7 in qualifying. I think it can do it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, he worked in fast as Xfinity Mobile. I was wanting him to work in some buffet.
Maxi. Maxi, cállese. Yo hago lo que yo quiero. No, mentira. Ahí lo vemos entonces a Jeff Burton. Lo entrevistaban. También veíamos la vuelta de clasificación de Blake Perkins, que lo deja como el 7º más rápido. Y ahora, máquina 91, Josh Bilicki. El equipo de Mario Gasly. Recuerden que a las 10 de la noche, hora de Argentina, tenemos en vivo con la NASCAR Craftback Track Series en Las Vegas. No se lo van a querer perder. Estaremos en vivo. Acaba la vuelta de Josh Bilicki. 173.08 millas. Tiempo de 31.198 segundos. Carson Quapple se prepara para clasificar. Fue octavo en Atlanta, quinto en Cota y 24 en Phoenix. Me refiero a sus posiciones de arrancada. Veremos cómo le va acá en Las Vegas. Ahí le puso la ficha. Quiero ver quién fue el que le puso la ficha a Carson Quapple. Creo que fue Mati Viana. Mati Viana creo que fue el quien le puso la ficha a Carson Quapple para la carrera de la Xfinity para el día de mañana. Sí, en efecto, fue Mati Viana. Yo elegí a Ryan Sieg. Mardon eligió a Sammy Smith. Maxi eligió al Mirola. Paul Sitter. Por ahora, Paul provisional. 183.03 millas. 29.502 segundos. Buena vuelta de parte de Carson Quapple. 3 décimas más rápido que la vuelta que marcó Austin Hill. Kyle Sieg, máquina 28, se prepara para clasificar. El RSS Racing. Puesto 27 en Atlanta. Puesto 36 en Cota. Puesto 32 en Phoenix. Esas han sido las posiciones en las cuales ha clasificado en las últimas 3 carreras el piloto de RSS Racing, el hermano menor de Ryan Sieg. Familia de 3 hermanos. Que en paz descanse Shane Sieg, que era el hermano mayor. Finaliza la vuelta de Ryan. Cuarto. Es una buena vuelta, ojo. 178.43 millas. Promedio. La vuelta de clasificación de Ryan Sieg. Hacemos una pausa y regresamos, gente. Estamos en vivo con la NASCAR Xfinity Series. Acá con esta clasificación para la Luna en Las Vegas el día de mañana. Por ahora, el hijo del campeón del año 2003 de la serie de camionetas, me refiero a Travis Quapple, Carson Quapple, se está quedando con la pole provisoria. Entrevistan a Dan Meyer.
We're gonna send it and hope it sticks. I know this Audubon Ford Mustang's as fast as XFINITY Mobile. It's just about putting out a good qualifying lap. The one car out there put down a heater. We gotta go chase that. We'll be all right. Good luck. Thank you.
You hear that drop? His videographer. I'm wondering, Jamie.
Ahí le entrevistaban a Stan Meyer. Mientras tanto vemos a Jeremy Clements, número 51, uno de los veteranos de la categoría. Arranca la vuelta de Clements. Tiene al mismo, ¿no? Dibujado, personificado como una caricatura en la parte frontal de su máquina número 51. Para aquellos que lo vieran, al diseño está interesante. Y es interesante también la vuelta que está marcando Jeremy Clements. ¡Ojo! ¡Segundo! Buena vuelta de Jeremy Clements. ¡Epa! Interesante lo de Clements. Me gustó. 181.16 millas. 29.807 segundos. Interesante la vuelta de Jeremy Clements. Se prepara la máquina número 10 de Daniel Dye del equipo de Colleague Racing. Ahora a clasificar. Máquina Chevrolet. Vamos a ver cómo le va. La de la 2 recta posterior. Por ahora, una décima más lento que la vuelta que registró Carson Quapple. Por ahí quizás lo ponga en la segunda posición. Un Daniel Dye que fue puesto 14 en la práctica. Finaliza la vuelta. Bueno, subió bastante el tiempo. Lo va a colocar cuarto. 179.62 millas en promedio. 30.063 es el tiempo que marcó, que registró Daniel Dye. 21 autos han salido a pista. Es el vigésimo segundo. Brendan Poole, máquina 44, entrevistan a Jesse Love. A ver, escuchar.
My guys said if it sticks, probably be on the pole, and if it doesn't, then we'll probably qualify 20th. So, I don't know. I think that's the best bullet I got in the chamber. So, overall, I thought our fire off seat in practice was actually really good. Got in some traffic with the 7 car, but a little bit tight on the long run, but I think that we can make this car as fast as XFINITY Mobile.
All right, Jesse Love feeling good in the 2 car.
.90 millas, 30.699 la vuelta de Brendan Poole, que lo deja puesto a 14. Se prepara ahora para salir a clasificar la máquina número 25 del AM Racing, Harrison Burton. Los resultados en las clasificaciones: puesto 19 en Atlanta, puesto 31 en Cota, 21 en Phoenix. Vamos a ver qué vuelta registra el nene de Jeff Burton. Veo bastante humo saliendo de la llanta trasera izquierda, claro, porque se comprime el resorte a la hora de pasar por esas ondulaciones. Quinto más rápido. 179.43 millas. 30.094 segundos es la vuelta que acaba de registrar la máquina 25 de Harrison Burton. Máquina 4, Parker Retzlaff, del equipo de Alpha Prime Racing. El suave número 4. Vamos a ver si la vuelta rectifica su sponsor. Viene de un puesto 11 en Phoenix la semana pasada. Retzlaff, que fue puesto 28 durante la práctica. Es una buena vuelta, ojo, la de Parker Retzlaff. Se puede colocar segundo incluso. A ver acá. Recta principal, acaba la vuelta, segundo va a ser, Segundo. 181.67 millas. 29.724 segundos es la vuelta que acaba de registrar Parker Retzlaff. Bien por Retzlaff. Connor Silich, el más rápido durante la práctica. La carta de un usuario normal dijo que podría ser el ganador. Recordemos que se quedó con la pole para la Cota. Arrancó décimo en Atlanta, arrancó cuarto en Phoenix. Lo veo bastante arriba en la curva 1 y 2. Me parece que perdió tiempo ahí en la 2. Pero estaba en verde. A ver acá en la 3. Si se logra mejorar el tiempo. Agresiva la vuelta de Connor Silich. Y me parece que puede llegar a algo. Puede llegar a segundo. Segundo va a ser. Por detrás de su compañero de equipo Carson Quapple. Sí, en efecto, segundo. 182.5 millas acaba de registrar la vuelta de Color Series. Entrevistarán acá a Ryan Sieg, mientras que George Williams sale a clasificar máquina número 11.
It shows how strong our team actually is when you go to a backup and finish fourth with it. So we were close with our psyops for today, just too loose. But it's pretty cold right now, so we kind of thought it was going to be a little warmer. But it's pretty chilly and windy, so we're about an adjustment away. We're where we needed to be in practice. But we dialed it in, and I feel like we got something good for the race in the long run, like we did in the fall.
Thanks, Ryan.
Josh Williams, nice pickup here in qualifying.
I like hearing Ryan talk. Things are just one adjustment away. That means he feels really good about where that car is, and him saying that, based on what we saw last year with him, says a lot about where that car is right now.
I like where that team is just organizationally and what they feel like they're able to do week in, week out. Jeb Burton told us how fast he was. Tracker indicates he is really fast.
Yeah, not out of the
Vemos acá la vuelta de Jeff Burton, que lo va a colocar como el tercero más rápido. 181.89 millas, 29.688 segundos. Lo deja al de Jordan Anderson Racing. William Sawali, que recordemos corre a tiempo completo acá en esta categoría. Máquina número 18 del equipo de Joe Gibbs Racing. Lo vi suelto en la curva 1 y 2, me parece, ¿eh? Me parece que lo vi suelto. Perdió tiempo acá. Una décima. A ver si se puede recuperar. ¡Ay! Tocó, me parece que el apron ligeramente. ¡Ay! Bueno, sigue siendo una buena vuelta igual la de William Sawalich, pero agresivo Sawalich, tercero más rápido. 182.01 millas, 29.668 es el tiempo que acaba de registrar William Sawalich, que lo coloca como el tercero más rápido. A ver quién se queda con la pole. Se prepara Nick Sánchez. Arrancó séptimo en Phoenix la semana pasada, 15 en Atlanta, 19 en Cota. Ojo, porque la vuelta de Sánchez es buena. Pierde igual tiempo saliendo a la 2. El tiempo en rojo. A ver, entrando a la 3 y recupera algo. Recupera algo, ojo. ¡Ay! Suelto saliendo de la curva 4. Perdió bastante tiempo ahí. Y probablemente Nick Sánchez sea cuarto. 181.97 millas. 29.674 segundos. Estaba para lograr la pole. Sin embargo, estaba complicado ahí en la curva 3 y 4. Se va a preparar el cubano-americano Ari Calmirola. Hacemos una pausa, enseguida regresamos, gente. Estamos con la clasificación de la serie XFINITY.
qualifying here. Although I didn't think Connor was going to make turn 2. I was impressed that he actually made the corner there. So probably a little bit of youth, and I don't know that I would have stayed in it. So, you know, glad that both of those guys ran the laps they did. But really proud of everybody on our 7 team. Our Dirt Logistics Chevrolet has been really good all day. You know, we were really good on the long run. I wouldn't say that short run speed was our strength. So, you know, we're going to rely on these guys and what adjustments they've made to be able to qualify with that much speed. And hopefully we can go lay a lap down. You know, the goal is obviously always to be as fast as Xfinity Mobile, but when you come to a place like this, having that long run speed and some longevity in the car is super important. So proud of everybody back at the Hendrick engine shop, everybody Chevrolet. We've been working really hard on racetracks just like this, and we know that we're going to have to face it in the playoffs here later this year. So we're going to be taking a lot of notes.
Hey, Justin, the pressure's on. That's what I thought. Your teammates are 1, 2.
Tremendo. 1, 2 y 3 de Junior Motorsports. La vuelta de Sammy Smith. 29.435 segundos. Pole provisoria para la máquina número 8. 1, 2 y 3 para Junior Motorsports por ahora en la clasificación. ¿Qué te parece esta, ¿Qué les parece, gente? Velocidad de 183.455 millas. Hasta ahora solamente Sammy Smith y Carson Cuopo han sido los únicos 2 pilotos que rompieron la barrera de las 182 millas. Brandon Jones. A ver, Brandon Jones. Sale la 4, recta principal. Es una buena vuelta. Lo va a colocar quizás en el 10º lugar. Bueno, no es una buena vuelta tan así que digamos. 181 millas cerrado. 29.833 segundos. El ganador en camionetas acá, en Las Vegas, Christian Eckes. La última vez que este auto de 6 se presentó a Las Vegas, fueron los ganadores, en la mano de AJ Allmendinger. Vamos, Eckes, a ver, ¿qué nos muestra Eckes? The Colleague Racing, el Leaf Filter. Negociando la 3 y 4, complicado la 3 y 4 para Christian Eckes, pierde bastante, creo que va a ser 10º. Oh, puesto 12 por ahí, puesto 12, sí. 179.55 millas. 30.075. Bueno, siguiente en clasificar, Taylor Gray. Acá tenemos al piloto de Joe Gibbs Racing. Recordemos que el año pasado Johan Tardimech se quedó con esta competencia, un auto de Joe Gibbs Racing. Por ahora es 1, 2 y 3 de Junior Motorsport. Veremos si es que los de Joe Gibbs, si no es Taylor Gray, podría ser Almirola quien podrían quizás ahí incomodar a los de Junior Motorsports. Pero por ahora Taylor Gray no logra el cometido. Va a ser cuarto. 182.48 millas, 29.592 segundos. Conversando ahí Sammy Smith y Carson Cuopo. Dos muchachos jóvenes, la sangre joven de NASCAR. Jesse Love. Bueno, gente, comienza ahora sí el momento de la verdad. ¿Será que Sammy Smith se queda con la pole? Vamos a ver la vuelta de Jesse Love. Después de él queda Ryan Sieg, Sam Mayer, Justin Allgaier y Ari Calvi-Black. Negociando acá la curva 3 y 4. Es una buena vuelta, pero no es como para que se quede con la pole. Lo va a colocar en el 5º lugar. 182.15 millas, 29.645. Últimos 4 autos para salir a clasificar. Se prepara ahora Ryan Sieg. Vamos a ver qué tal le va al quien finalizó segundo acá la última vez que se corrió en Las Vegas. Se ve fuerte Ryan Sieg, pero los tiempos dicen algo diferente. Vamos a ver qué vuelta registra Ryan Sieg, pero creo que ya cae fuera del top 10. Por ahí va a ser puesto 16 o puesto 17. Sí, puesto 17 va a ser Ryan Sieg con esta vuelta. Puesto 17. 178.80 millas, 30.201 segundos. Últimos 3. Sam Mayer, 41 de G-Haas. Arranca la vuelta de Sam Mayer. Vamos a ver cómo le va al piloto de Haas Factory Team. Ojo. Bueno, ligeramente suelto en la curva 2. En rojo el tiempo, una décima más lento que la vuelta que marcó Sammy Smith en la 3. Podría quizás clasificarse quinto. Podría ser quinto. A ver, quinto lugar. Sí, quinto. 182.22 millas. 29.634. Bueno, por ahora 3 autos de Junior Motorsport van a acaparar los primeros 5 lugares. Veremos si Justin Allgaier se une a sus 3 compañeros de equipo. Vamos a ver cómo le va al pequeño lagarto. Viene de un top 5 en Phoenix. Después de haber liderado 130 vueltas. Casi gana la carrera de la semana pasada. Por ahora parece una buena vuelta, pero no sé si es como para colocarlo cuarto o quinto. Creo que puede... A ver, acá en la 3 y 4, si es que responde de nuevo el 7. Podría caer hasta el sexto, séptimo lugar, ojo. Creo que va a ser séptimo. Sexto, la alcanzó. Sexto. 29.642 segundos. 182.17 millas. Bueno, no es un 1, 2, 3 y 4 de Junior Motorsport, pero es una buena vuelta de Justin Allgaier. Último auto en clasificar. ¿Será Sammy Smith o será Almirola? ¿Quién se queda con la pole? Vamos a ver si es que Almirola se convierte en el segundo piloto en la historia de la serie XFINITY en ganar la pole en su cumpleaños. Hoy está de cumpleaños el cubano americano. A ver, Alec Almirola, no es un buen tiempo. No es un buen tiempo, se va a quedar con la pole Sammy Smith. Curva 3 y 4. Va a caer probablemente en el puesto 12 aproximadamente, o puesto 11. A ver, Almirola, puesto 11. Sammy Smith es el ganador de la pole. Junior Motorsports 1, 2 y 3. Sammy Smith se queda con la pole para la carrera de mañana en Las Vegas. 29.435 segundos. Buena vuelta de Sammy Smith. Los de Junior Motorsports acapararon los primeros 3 lugares. Solamente 2 pilotos de Junior Motorsport rompieron la barrera de los 182 millas en promedio por vuelta. Y fueron Sammy Smith y Carson Quapple. Cuarta pole en la categoría para la máquina número 8 de Sammy Smith. Entrevista con él.
Just I felt like we need to work on our long run pace just a little bit. I think it'll be keeping up with the racetrack with rubber and being a little bit hotter in the cup cars before. So hopefully, you know, we can keep it up front and we'll see.
There's always talk about the bumps in turn 1. Have you noticed that they've gotten worse, or do they feel the same as in previous years?
I feel like maybe just a touch worse, but overall, I mean, it's obviously these guys do a really good job, and JRM as a whole right now is pretty solid. So hopefully we can keep them all up front tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Dylan Sammy Smith will lead the field to green tomorrow.
And his teammate at Junior Motorsports will start next to him. That's Carson Quapple. So you just told me you felt like you maybe had a little bit more in it. What's the balance like when the conditions are tricky, kind of like they are, of knowing where the limit ultimately is?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, me never being here and stuff like that kind of played a role into just wanting to put down a pretty good lap and not overdo it. We had talked about trying to hold it wide open in 1 and 2, and I told the guys to tell me to hold it wide open, but I just had to lift, and I felt like I really didn't need to. And once I lifted, it kind of cut to the bottom way too good, and just felt like we had a little bit more speed with this Johnny Morris Bass Pro Shops Clarence Chevrolet. But I really think these guys, this whole one group, brought me a car that's as fast as XFINITY Mobile this week. So I'm really excited for the race. I think we got a really good piece, and during practice I felt like our long run speed was good, and our handling kind of held on and was pretty good. So super excited for tomorrow.
This one car has been so fast all year long. Just kind of some bad luck ultimately is what's took you out of some good finishes. How frustrating is that, but also encouraging at the same time to know that you guys have what it takes, just need some things to go differently.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, it's super frustrating. I mean, I feel like these guys, they work their guts out every week, right? And I hate bringing them mid-20th place finishes week after week, but I really do feel like we've had a top 5 car at least three of the 4 races, and honestly probably all of them. So hopefully tomorrow we can kind of put it all together and come out with a good finish. We really need to for the points, and just need to keep knocking out some finishes like we did at Daytona and bring ourselves back better in points. But I know this whole #1 group's working their tails off and bringing me a really fast car week in and week out. Just got to complete through and finish all the laps.
Always got to compete with the one car. He said there's more in it. Starts second tomorrow.
You know, it's the third time, Dylan, that JRM has gone 1, 2, 3 in qualifying. And for Carson Quapple, never sees the place before today, comes here not bad in qualifying, not bad in practice, outstanding in qualifying. But his dad does know success here. Let's go back. 2007, Travis getting it done in the Craftsman trucks here.
Oh, Travis was
Bueno,
so good in the
justamente no. Recordando que Travis Quapple, su papá, ganó acá en 2007 en camionetas. Ahora tenemos al KN. Hacemos una pausa y enseguida regresamos. Qué lindo recuerdo ese.
drastic, and the grip kind of in this side of the racetrack's a little different. So line wrapping down here is just the most important part about this racetrack. So yeah, I can't thank all my Joe Gibbs Racing guys enough. I feel like we brought a really fast Operation Center GR Supra. I feel like we're as fast as Xfinity Mobile. So just got to have a good day tomorrow and have a good Wednesday.
You're one of only 3 drivers to have 3 top 10s in the first 4 races. Does it feel like, because it seems like from the outside that this team is starting to click?
Yeah, I feel like we're firing all cylinders, and we're still learning each other, right? I mean, this is me and Jason's only, first couple races together. So I feel like me and the team are still learning kind of what we need out of the race car and kind of our lingo. But yeah, we're starting to fire.
That's Taylor Gray. And Dylan, he mentioned Jason. That's Jason Radcliffe, his crew chief, the winningest crew chief in the Xfinity Series. Not a bad guy to be paired with.
Absolutely, and Sam Mayer is going to start 5th tomorrow. So we always know that the Haas factory cars have been good here at Vegas, but it's a new iteration of that team this year. So how much information do you guys feel like you had coming in here that still applies to ultimately how you rolled off the truck and the lap you put down there?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is this place changes every time you show up. I feel like I've been here a couple times, and it's different every time I show up. But this is the first time where I felt like it's pretty similar to what we had in the fall last year. And obviously the Haas cars were really, really good there in the fall. And honestly, all the Fords were really good too. So it feels good to be in the Ford. But yeah, I know the Audubell Ford Mustang's as fast as Xfinity Mobile. I hit the racetrack a little bit in the middle of 1 and 2 on my qualifying lap, and it definitely knocked some speed out of it. I think we could have been a little better if we got that right, but I'm not going to complain about a top 5 here.
You said you were going to try to go flat out. How close did you get?
I was doing it up until I saw the wall coming out. I was like, yeah, I should probably not do that. I was going to stand by what I said until it actually happened. But yeah, I did everything I could in there. Obviously, the car has a ton of speed, and I know the 00's in a really good spot too, pace-wise. So he'll be up at the front shortly. It's just going to take a little bit for him, but I'm looking forward to tomorrow. This will be the first time in Vegas where I feel like I can just go out there and do it, and we're going to make it happen.
What gives you that confidence ultimately?
Yeah, I mean, just having really good people around me and having that experience and comfortability, I think is the biggest thing. And this second time in a row where the racetrack's kind of been in the same state, and I kind of know what to expect now, so I can go out there and just give it all I got.
Sam Mayer sounding like a seasoned veteran, ready to go tomorrow, Kim.
And Nick Sanchez qualified in the top 10. Did you get everything you needed out of today in preparation for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think the number 48 Big Machine Vaca Spike Cooler Chevrolet was pretty good in practice, and it was pretty good in qualifying. I probably threw away top 3, top 4 starting spot in 3 and 4, so a little bit pissed at myself at that, but it is what it is, and I think we have a very good race car. We're starting in stage points, so that's good, and we'll just go fight tomorrow.
As we look at today, it was cold, it was windy, overcast. Tomorrow it's supposed to be 10 degrees warmer. The wind pretty much non-existent. How different will the conditions be in the race car?
I thought when we practiced, we had the sun out. The track was taking a good line of rubber on the bottom, so I think that'll be pretty comparable tomorrow. So we'll just see, with more than 30 laps on the tires, what happens.
Nick Sanchez qualified in the 9th position.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Nick. He's got his backpack on, probably got his computer, going to go read some notes, watch some video.
Bueno, gente, acá estamos ya en los últimos momentos de esta transmisión de lo que es la clasificación. Recuerden que no solamente mañana se disputa lo que va a ser la 5ª fecha del calendario, sino que además va a ser la clasificatoria para el Dash for Cash. Es decir, esta carrera se va a contar como una carrera clasificatoria para los 4 mejores pilotos regulares de la serie Xfinity. Los 4 mejores que finalicen, en la carrera de Las Vegas van a estar disputándose por los $100,000 para la próxima carrera, que va a ser en Homestead, donde va a arrancar este programa de 4 carreras consecutivas en las cuales se va a estar disputando el Dash for Cash, los $100,000. Así que, gente, mañana, recuerden, es una carrera clasificatoria para aquellos que están disputándose los $100,000. Veremos a ver quiénes son los 4 que van a estar clasificándose para la carrera del día de mañana. Así que, gente, recuerden, mañana estaremos en vivo con la NASCAR XFINITY Series, y esta noche estaremos con la NASCAR Craftsman Track Series en lo que sería la carrera de la EcoSafe 200 en Las Vegas. Gente, se cuidan todos. Muchísimas gracias a todos por haber estado presentes. Nos vemos dentro de 1 hora con la Craftsman Track Series.